So although this novel is not necessarily historical fiction, it does inject some imagined scenes from the life of a real person. And that person, Jennie Mustapha, was a member of Friends Meeting of Washington, a Quaker community in Washington, D.C. She was an educator in D.C. public schools. And she has a very interesting professional story in and of itself. More importantly about Jennie Mustapha, she was a Black woman who became a Quaker later in her life. I discovered the life of Jennie Mustapha in two different ways. The first was through my research of Black fraternity and sorority life. I discovered a woman who happened to be a Quaker who was the president of the Washington, D.C. Alumnae chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, Sorority Incorporated. So I learned about her experience in Delta through that context of being a Quaker, and I myself am a member of a Black fraternity or two. The other reason I knew about Jennie Mustapha was through her memorial minute. A memorial minute is basically a document that a meeting writes in honor of a person that is deceased. And there are some biographical elements, but it's really a spiritual document that captures who this person was and what their life and spirituality meant. Friends Meeting of Washington has collected its memorial minutes, and I found Jennie Mustapha's name among those minutes. I read it, and there was no reference to her affiliation with Delta Sigma Theta. I asked myself, what other parts of Jennie Mustapha's life got overlooked by the white gaze of Quakers? And I began writing the novel, and I imagined this world in which Jennie Mustapha met other Black people who might not have been in her social class or the social class Washington Quakers might have been acquainted with. And I just came up with this community whose role it was in the novel was to be inspired by Jennie Mustapha. I feel like we work on a lot of assumptions, and what A Peculiar Legacy does, I hope, is peel back those assumptions and help people see that we are whole people. We are entire people already, and that we shouldn't just ignore the parts that don't compute in our minds, that we should lead with curiosity and figure out how those parts that don't seem to work with the Quaker faith actually contribute to our understanding of the Quaker faith. I hope what my book does is peel back layers from this Black woman's life, even if in a fictitious manner, that show friends, look at all the things that Jennie Mustapha might have done away from your eyes. This was a convinced friend who had lived a whole life before she became a Quaker. So I hope that in that way, the book is illuminating to friends all over the world.